Deepak. I hope you all are doing well. Today in this video we are going to build a microservice with Spring Boot and REST API and with H2 database. The points which we are going to cover in sequence are like first we will create a microservice with Spring Boot and configure the H2 database. Next, like we will implement the CRUD operations with REST API and the endpoints which we are going to cover like get, post, update and delete. Finally, we will test our REST APIs using Postman and verify the API response data whether it is coming as expected or not. So all these points we are going to cover. So let us start by creating the microservice with Spring Boot. Let me open the STS with workspace. Okay, so herein we are going to use the H2 database, and let me tell you something about the H2 database in just few lines. Like H2 database and MySQL both are relational management database systems. There is a slight difference. Like H2 database is the in-memory database and stores data on the disk space, due to which it is faster. And most commonly, we are going to use H2 database for test and development purpose. Okay, and one more thing, like H2 database is running within the application process, it is not running in a different process. Okay, so this is about H2 database. Most about MySQL database, it is like it is running in an independent or different process than the application process, and mostly we are using the MySQL database for production purpose. Okay, so that's it about H2 database and MySQL. Now we can create our microservice using Spring Boot. We can select this second option using Spring Startup project. Okay, so here we can give our project name, like this is the product related service, means we are going to use product service. We can use the type as a Maven build, packaging as a jar, version Java 17. We can make this group as a product, here product service, and here we can give description as product service details, and here simply we can say product microservice is fine, and here we can add com.product as a package. Next, here we can add the dependency, what all dependency we need. We will add Spring Web first. Next we will add JPA. We are going to use Spring Data JPA. Next we are going to use H2 database, and for getter setup we are going to use Lombac. That's it, these 4 dependencies. Click next and finish. Okay, we can see the project is created with default files and folder with one error. So let us configure the build path. As it is pointing to Java 17 as a default, we can remove it and point to the one which is already installed on our system. Apply and close. This is added. Now here is like one error is coming as set accessible java.long.reflect.field set accessible is boolean archive field is null. Okay, so in order to remove this error, we need to add some plugins. So let us add so that our code will look clear. Okay, so here we can add Maven jar plugin dot version. Here we can use 3.1.1, and this plugin is getting used to build a jar out of Java classes. So the purpose of this is nothing more than that. Okay, so now we can update the Maven project, force update, and we can build it using maven install. We can see the it is not showing any error now, so it is resolved also. Yes, build is success. Now we can simply run as a Spring Boot application. Okay, so you can see our product application is has been started successfully and is running on port 8080, which is default one. Okay, so now let us as we are going to h2 database, we need to configure the h2 database inside our application.properties file, or either in this file or in application.yaml file. Okay, so here we can change the port number. We can change port from default 8080 to 8082. Next, like, we will add the database related configuration like spring dot data source dot url, and the url we are going to use like jdbc colon h2 colon main, and let's say it's a product db database. Next, we are going to add source dot driver class name is equal to org dot h2 dot driver. Next, we are going to add username and password. Here we can say username, and we can add a user 1, and here is the password user @123. Next, we can add spring.jpa.database. We need to add the dialect. For that, we need to add this entry. As in database platform, we can use org.hibernate.dialect.h2 dialect. Okay, that's it. So we are done with the necessary configuration for h2 database. Okay, fine, we can save it. Now we can start adding our components. First, we will create the packages. Okay, so we can create packages. We will create entity. Next, as a service. Next, repository. Next, as in service. And finally we will create the controller. Fine, so we have created all the necessary packages. Now let us start adding the component inside that. We can create the entity as product, and herein like we can add necessary annotations like @entity, @data, no org constructor, all constructor, and builder. We can add the import for all. Wait. Fine. Now here we can add fields like private, long, product ID, next private string name, and we have two more fields as category and brand. Now here we can add ID annotation. Next, like here we can use generate generated value, and inside bracket we can add strategy is equal to generation type dot auto. With this, it will increment our ID by 1 by using this option. So whenever we create or add new product in database, so it will auto generate the ID for us. Okay, fine. Now next we will create the repository, and you can say product repository. Here you can say iterate repository annotation, and here we can make it as an interface, and it should extend CRUD repository interface with object entity as a product and its ID as an type as a long. We can import for repository as well as for product. Fine, so we are done with our repository part. Now next thing, we will create the service component. First we will create the product service interface, inside which we will add the necessary endpoint, we have first get all products, or we can simply say get products, and get all products is fine. Next we can add product and get product for the input product ID. Next we can add a API method for create product. So create product returns product, and method is like add product, and here we are going to pass the input product to be saved into the database. Next, similar way we will add update product and one more entry for delete product. Here we should add update product, same way. And for updation we need to add the product ID as well, because we need to tell which product to update against which ID. Next, we will add delete product. Herein we just need to pass ID, and that is enough. Okay, So we have added all the necessary endpoint uh, methods in service. Now we will provide the implementation in another class for all these operations. Let's say we have product service impl. Now this class implements product service. We can add all the unimplemented methods. Here we can annotate the class as a service annotation, and here we can simply add all the methods for CRUD. Before that we can add we can inject the product repository which we are going to use. Fine. Okay, so here we can simply return product repository dot find all. Next we are going to get the product for this ID, so we can simply say return product repository dot find by ID, and here we will pass the product ID. That's it. Next here, like, we will add product, so we can use simply product repository dot save, and here is the input entity we are going to save. Now next we are going to update, so we can say okay. So here for updation, first we need to get the ID first, product for the respective ID, or we can add that logic in controller. Here we can simply say save the input ID, save or update. What would do? Fine. So here first of all, like, we will fetch the ID first, product first for the ID. So let's say here is the product, uh, product as an existing you can say updated product equal to here we can cast it to the list of project as it is showing red. Here again we can use optional, or rather we can use dot get, and here, like, again the same way we need to use get method. So there are other scenarios, like if the product is not there for that ID or kind, so it will throw the exception. So in that case, we need to handle the exception in a proper way, but we are not going to cover that part. So we are just considering the healthy path scenarios wherein like we will get the product for the respective IDs kind of. Now here we have retrieved the product. Now we need to update this with the input values here. You can simply check if updated project is not equal to null, then go and update the ID is already there, so we don't need to set the ID or change the ID. We are going to change the name, and the name we are taking from get name input bean. Similarly, we are going to set two other fields, like the next is a category, and get the category from input bean, and set the brand and get the value of brand from input B. And here we need to update the new product with which is updated with new values. We are going to save it in the repository. Yes, that's it. Now next thing, like we will delete the product against the product ID. Okay, for that, like we are simply going to use product repository dot delete, and here we are going to first we will get the ID product for that ID, and now we are going to pass this product which needs to be deleted. Okay, in with this, here we can say this delete method is returning as a void. So once this is done, here we can say a string, and here we can return some message as product deleted successfully. That's it. Okay, so we need to add this type in interface as well, same. Okay, fine. Now we are done with all the service layer operations or methods we have implemented. Now next thing, like we will create the controller part. Here we can create one product controller, and we can annotate it using REST controller. Here now we can add for our first get all product, we can add get mapping annotation. Inside this we can add one products. Here we can write our endpoint which will be returning as a list of product, and our method name will be get all products, and inside this Here we can inject service layer, service component, which is product service in our case. Okay. And here we can simply call product service dot get all products. That's it. Now next thing, we will create products for a particular product ID, and here we can say get product, or here we can add path variable, and here as an product ID, and here you can say long product ID, and here we can return product for the respective product ID. And here it is returning a single product. Fine. Now next thing, we will add write API for adding the product post mapping, and can say products. Now here the product, add product, and here we can add request body and our bean as a product, input product, and here in we can call product service dot add product, and then product can simply say return. Here import for post mapping. Fine. So this is about add. Now next thing, like we will do for update product. Copy this. Here instead of post we can use patch for update, and for updation we need product ID. So here we can add that, and here instead of add product we can say update product, and here is the product, and we can pass path variable as an product ID, long product ID. Okay, so we can pass both these right here. Now retrieving the product for this respective product ID and setting the product target product values from the input product values, all that stuff we have already added into the service layer, like setting the values, getting the product from the for the respective product ID, and setting the new values, input values for this product, and finally saving the product into the database. So go to the controller, and here we are going to call just the update product, update this product against this ID. Fine, we can add patch mapping, and finally we will use delete method. For that we are going to use delete mapping. So we can say delete product, and we don't need to pass the request body, only the path variable product ID is enough. For this we can change this update method to delete product, and we are going to pass the product ID which need to be deleted, and here it is returning the string message as a success or failure. Okay, fine. So we are done with our controller part. So we have covered all the 5 endpoints, including this get product as well. So in a short, like, we have covered all the CRUD endpoints in our controller. Now we can add, we can test our APIs into the into Postman. So here, like, if we want, we can write like response entity, and inside this we can add this. Okay, and here return response entity dot OK. Set this, can add this. Okay, so here, like, response entity will have the HTTP status code and message as well, and we can add or set our actual response data within that as well. Okay, so similar way we can add it here, response entity for product. Okay, fine. So we are done with all the endpoints and request and response. Now we will test it. The next point is to test these endpoints using the Postman. So let us do that. Now here we are going to use, so here, like, we are going to use this port 8082 because that is what we have configured. We can change the body as a JSON. Now here products. Okay, we can simply, so make, we should, before we hit the send button, we need to check whether our application is in running state or not. We can say products. Okay, so let me stop this and restart the application. Okay, fine. Now we can check. Okay, so we need to auto wire this. This is getting now. Now build success we can run as Spring Boot. Okay, so our application started successfully. Now we can check. Yes, we can see now it is coming as an empty array because we have not added any product as of now. So let us add one product. Say post method products year body JSON. Let us take one product to be added. Here can add product 1, category 1 and brand 1. Here method post and endpoint is fine. Endpoint is products and this is our product which need to be added. So you can see id 1 is created with auto generated it's an auto generated value and this object is added into the database. Now if we go back and hit the get method get API, so we can see inside array we can find one entry which we have just added. Now we can see now here if we want to check, like if we want to find the first entry, so it will give us product internal server error get product. Okay, so in order to get this, like we need to pass the ID. So here it should be what endpoint we have written products and ID. So here we have given the wrong one. It should be product ID. Now it will give us say uninstall. build success. Now we can run as a Spring Boot application. As we have started this application again, now we don't get the data, because as we are using the H2 database, we don't find it will not retain the database state. Now you can see the entry which we have added, now it is not showing. We need to add it again. You can see, yes, here we can see inside array there is one value. Now if we want to check for the first entry, now it should show us the first entry. Yes, it is showing. Now next thing, like we can update using patch method, and here we can use for JSON. Here we can update. So let us add one more entry, so that there should be two entries in a list. Second product we can add. We can see it is auto incremented by 2 and added successfully. Now let us say if we go back to get method and check, we need to remove this one, so that it will show us all the records as it is showing the two records. Now we will update to the second record. We need to pass the ID for the second record. Now we can copy the second record from here and update it here. Now let's say I will append it with the 22 as the last entry. Say, you can see it is updated. Now if we go back and call the get method, we can see the second entry is updated. Next, like we will check for the delete method. For delete, like we are going to add, just giving the ID, product ID, which need to be deleted. And we can simply click on send button. Yes, you can see the product deleted successfully. If we go back and here earlier there was two entries, there were two entries. Now if you check get all products, you can see the second entry is deleted, due to which it is showing the first entry only. Okay, fine. So with this, like we have covered all the points which we have discussed before we start our video. So apart from this, like let's say if you want to check the interface for this one, we can enable that interface using the entry like spring dot h2 dot console dot enabled is equal to true. So with this, like it will enable the console for us. Let us check. No. HTTP host 8082 hyphen h2 console. But for this we need to build it again, because we have just added this in configuration. We need to build it. Yes, now we can check. Yes, we can see it is showing the interface. Now here we can add our database, like the database is a product db, username as an user1, and password is like user 123, and we can test connection success, connect, wrong username or password, user1 user @123. we need to add user iterate 123. We can connect. Yes, we can see we are connected. Here is our product database, product table. This is our product DB as in our database. Inside that we have created product, and this product is empty right now because we have not added. So one more thing, like H2, when we are going to use the H2 database, it will create the database and tables on the fly when we start our application, and it will not retain any database state. Like as long as our application is running, it will keep the data and retain the state. Once we stop our application, we will not find any data, or we will simply lose the data. Now we can add one of the products so that we can cross check. Let's say here we can make it product 1, category 1, and brand 1. Yes, now we can check it here. We can run the query. Yes, we can see the product is added. Now next thing, like we can add one more product for this one. Yes, we can see second product is added and is reflecting it here. Now we can check with patch method. Now here is like for second it's just last is the 2. Now we will add append like double 2 at last and check what happens. Yes, we can see the value is updated successfully, and finally we can delete the last entry and product deleted successfully, and we can check it here and we can see the second item is deleted. Okay, so with this, like we are done all the CRUD operations which we have discussed at the start of this video, and we are done with all these things which we have discussed. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like, so please do like and subscribe the same. Thank you so much for watching this video.